Welcome to our next video in the Simple Great Battles of History series. What we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be looking at some of the key differences and some of the basic elements of simple GBOH versus regular GBOH. Now what I have set up here is I actually have the map set up for the Battle of Chaeronea, which is the very first battle of Great Battles of Alexander. And what you're going to do first whenever you play simple GBOH is you need to set the battle up using the playbook instructions with a couple of minor differences. The key difference is that in simple GBOH you can place your leaders with one of the units that they command, one of their subordinate formation units. So you don't necessarily have to put the leaders where the setup in the playbook instructs you. What you'll want to do, though, is you will want to get your Simple GBOH playbook out, and in the Simple GBOH playbook you're going to find some important pieces of information. Namely, you're going to find the formation charts, you're going to find the army withdrawal levels, and you're going to find any special rules that have any applicability to the Simple GBOH system. Many of the battles in Great Battles of History series have some special rules. Now some of those special rules will remain unchanged in Simple GBOH. Sometimes they need to be modified slightly, and other times they're canceled out entirely. Your Simple GBOH playbook will instruct you what to do with that. But let's zoom in here a little bit because I want to show you some of the key differences between simple Great Battles of History and your standard Great Battles of History. First of all, let's pull out a leader here. We got Philip of Macedon. And in regular GBOH, there are 4 pieces of information on the counter itself. You'll have his personal combat rating, a strategy rating. You'll have his initiative rating, which is the number in the middle and the bottom. In this case, he would be a 6. And his command radius, which is the number 12 on the left. Now in simple GBOH, the only information you really need is the initiative rating and the command radius. The other numbers are ignored entirely. So in this case, he's got a command radius of 12, command range, I should say, of 12, an initiative of 6. And the range is actually going to be in terms of hexes, not in terms of movement points. So it's a 12 hex radius regardless of terrain. The only thing that can inhibit the command radius is enemy units and enemy zones of control. And we'll look at that a little bit later in another video. So for now, important information is number on the left and the number on the right, initiative and your command radius. So Philip of Macedon, if you look at the Simple GBOH playbook for the Battle of Chaeronea, you'll find that Philip II is listed as the OC, or overall commander. There's a slash and the number 5 next to his name. That indicates that Philip of Macedon is he's the overall commander of the army, and he has a seizure rating of 5. What the seizure rating is that's how many times in the game during the course of the battle that he can attempt to seize the initiative and steal an activation from the other players. So he also, on the formation chart, it'll also tell you what formations he commands, and it says here he commands the phalanx and or hypaspis. That means that when he is activated, he can activate the hypaspists, or he could activate all the phalanx, or he could activate both of them. And you might be wondering, well, why would you activate just one and not the other? There are some reasons why you may do that later on in the battle, and those reasons will become evident as we move along. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and put him back where he goes here, just stacked with one of the guys he commands. Scrolling up here a little bit, we'll look at Alexander. He's got slightly lower ratings in this battle than he does in the following battles. He's got a seizure rating of 3, range of 5, initiative of 6. Over on the other end of things, we have the Athenian, Theban, and coalition of city-state. For sake of clarity, we'll just call these guys the allies, or the coalition. These guys have 3 different leaders, and they have actually several different formations led by those leaders. They have 3 different leaders commanding each a portion of the army. So what you have here first is the leader of Thebes, Theogenes. This guy here has a seizure rating of 4. You'll see that, and by the way, the L is ignored on this guy's counter. We just totally ignore that. Number 5 up here, that's ignored. That number is ignored, that number is ignored. The only thing you pay attention to on this guy is his command range, which is 9, and his initiative rating, which is 4. Now, in the physical game, how you would mark his seizure rating is you just put a cohesion hit marker underneath him, or on top of him, whatever is your pleasure there. Or you could make a side note if you wanted to. I just usually put the marker underneath the leader. And in this case, he's got a seizure rating of 4, and so in Vassal what we've done is we've just added a note to his counter. And he's going to command all of the Theban units, all the Theban hoplite double-sided units, as well as the Theban Sacred Band, which is a small but highly elite unit right up here. Moving down a little bit, we have Pelopidas, and he commands the coalition of city-states, the miscellaneous guys here on the Allied side. You have the city-state of Corcyra represented, Leuctra, Megara, and Corinth. So that's going to be his command, the Corcyrian, Leuctra, Megara, and Corinth. And then you have Demosthenes, and he commands all of the Athenian units here, the Athenian hoplites, I should say. And then there is another formation here. Now the Macedonians have a similar formation. It's called Auxiliaries. Nearly every battle will have auxiliaries. I say nearly, not all battles, but most battles are going to have a formation called auxiliaries. And how this works is auxiliaries have no leader. They are always considered to be in command. No matter where they are on the battlefield, they act as though they're always in command. And whenever you activate the auxiliary formation, you can activate all the units that belong to that quote-unquote auxiliary formation, wherever they are on the board. There's no command radius needed. And in the case of the Allies here, all of the Greek mercenary peltasts, the LP units that you see right here, will be activated together as a part of the auxiliary formation. And you could also activate the Greek light cavalry. There's one on each wing. The Athenian Greek cavalry up here. On the north end, you also have the Theban light cavalry wing. So you could activate them in conjunction with all the light peltasts. You could activate just the light peltasts and not the cavalry, or you could activate the cavalry and not the light peltasts as part of the auxiliary formation. Similarly, for the Macedonians, as we said, Philip commands the phalanx and the hypaspis. Alexander commands the companion cavalry. All of these heavy cavalry guys here with the term companion on them. The light cavalry that you see here on the far end, this guy here is actually part of the Macedonian auxiliary formation along with the light peltasts. So per the playbook, it'll tell you that you can activate the Thracian peltasts and or the Macedonian light cavalry. So those are the formations in the game. Really quickly, let me show you the unit ratings on the actual units themselves here. Just in case you're not familiar with GBOH, there are some important pieces of information that are on just about every single unit. First of all, the number on the left does not appear in the physical game. That's only in the Vassal module as a convenience, so you don't have to use cohesion hit markers. So in the physical game, you won't use that. You'll use hit markers underneath or on top of the unit, whichever method you prefer. On the top, you have the unit's name, in this case mercenary. In the physical game, it would say mercenary 1, mercenary 2, and so forth, or Thracian 1, Thracian 2, and whatnot. The number here, or excuse me, the letter inside the black circle, sometimes a red circle, depending on the color of the unit. In this case here, it's black circles for the Macedonians. I think it's red circles for the Greeks here. Yep, nope, they got black units. It's red for, I think, the Persians. Anyways, whenever you have a circle with a letter inside it, that indicates it has ranged fire capability, and the letter indicates the type of ranged fire capability he has. So in the case of a J, they are javelin equipped, range of 1 hex, as you'll find on the fire tables inside the charts. S is slingers, they got a range of 2 hexes. And you got archers, they got a range of 3 hexes. You have compound bows. Those are Cs. You don't find them in this game. You find them actually, I believe, in Devil's Horseman and Cataphract. Those guys there have a range, I think, of 5. I'd have to double check. So C, you're not going to find those in this game very often. So you're generally going to find J's for javelinists. You're going to find A's for archers, S for slingers. Those are your most common. You also will find X's in Caesar and Gaul. Those are axe-equipped units. I think there's some in Cataphract too. Those are handled a little bit differently in simple GBOH. They don't really have any range fire capability. Their range fire is incorporated into a special shock combat modifier because their range fire is really used primarily in shock. So that's what the letter up here is for. The LP indicates every single unit has a 2-letter abbreviation showing what type of unit it is. LP or light peltasts. They're like light infantry, but they have some slightly enhanced capabilities, especially when it comes to defending against cavalry in simple GBOH. You'll see here we have HC for the heavy cavalry. Move over here. PH for phalanx, HI for heavy infantry, as we saw in some of the earlier pieces over here, heavy infantry. The HO is not important. That just indicates it's hoplite heavy infantry. It doesn't have any effect in the game. It's just for historic interest. And then you'll see on the phalanx here, these phalanx units have MA. That stands for Macedonian, because in some battles there will be a distinction between Macedonian phalanx and whatnot. So that's what the indication is here. LC is light cavalry, LI is light infantry, SK is skirmisher, and so forth. The number here on the lower right, that's the movement rating. Most ground units have, or foot units I should say, have a movement rating of 5. The exception being double-sided units have a movement rating of 4 in this game. That is a departure from standard GBOH, where the Macedonian phalanx could opt to try to get 5 movement points. That's not used in simple GBOH. All double-sided boys have a 4-point movement rating. The number in the middle on the bottom is the most important value on the unit itself. That is the unit's troop quality, the TQ rating. Higher that number is, the more qualified they are to handle shot combat, and the longer they'll be able to sustain offensive action on the battlefield in simple GBOH. The number in the yellow box is its size. The bigger the better. There are significant combat modifiers if you have a size advantage over the defending unit in shot combat. So basically that's really all you need to know about the units. There's not a whole lot of difference between the units in GBOH and SGBOH, but in simple Great Battles of History there are, like we said, some differences in the leaders, some new ways that you're going to activate units. You're going to activate units as formations. So if you're familiar with the line command rules in regular GBOH, what's going to happen in simple GBOH is most units are going to activate almost like a line command. And we'll look at how units activate in our next video.